2 minutes late, and not bad for a 5 o'clock show. 5 o'clock shows are a little bit dicey because I always get a call when I'm trying to prep and get ready. I always get a call, and that throws me off. And it doesn't really matter when I start my prep because the call always comes at the wrong time. So Lance is in the house. A lot of folks are in the house. Wow. A lot of folks in the house waiting on the Craigster to come in. Lewis is in the house. If GS hasn't shut down, COVID could prevent them by allowing them to keep producing, could benefit them by allowing them to keep producing and stockpiling watches, thus increasing supply when shipping starts again. Lewis in the house. There are some shortages, and I don't know. I tried to get information on whether or not production is shut down or not, and I've heard crickets. I haven't been able to get any information at all, and so we don't know if they're actually producing watches or not as we speak. We know very little. Steve is supposed to have some watches coming in. Fingers crossed. Let's see if that happens. But yeah, hopefully, maybe Steve will Skype in a little bit later and we'll maybe get some information. Stig says, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Craig, for doing these shows in difficult times. Well, thank you for tuning in. Eduardo Luis R. is Grand Seiko in a supply deficit. Some models, I can tell you, some models are in short supply. It depends on the model. And Steve can touch, hopefully, if he Skypes in. And he is supposed to be doing a show tomorrow, by the way, at this same time. And so that would be your chances to ask Steve anything you'd like to try to run by him. And let's see. They produce so few watches in general that this can help that stock up a bit, assuming they are not shut down like Rolex. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. We don't know if they're shut down or not. Let's see. Let's get the party started, says Durr. He was here at 5. Lewis says, what are you wearing today? There's Stifle. Let's see what he's wearing. Let's say, sup everyone. Bogged down with paperwork today, so this is a nice getaway. Triforce Rich. The Seiko Arnie reissue. Well, there you go. Heavy-duty piece. And Lance is in the house. Lance, we were talking about that watch, and Steve is going to be doing a show tomorrow, and he might be showing some of those watches. So be sure to tune in. Same bat channel, same bat time. Let's see. And Cheetown says Craig is live. Where's the Chipster says our wags. What is everyone wearing? Charlie Boy's in the house. And Carlos is in the house. No pre-show today. Looks like we'll just have to have an extra long show instead. The beans and the sweet potato are going to have to wait today. Well, you know, I actually had a new client call and signed up earlier, and I've got to get on a phone call with him after the show, so I can't be too long today. But I'll try to give you all a decent show. But he signed up. He's a new sponsor. I met him at a business card exchange, a Chamber of Commerce business card exchange some months ago. And he contacted me and he said, listen, I need help. I need help. And he signed up as a sponsor, and he's paid in full for a year. And I'm going to help him. That's what we do. We help small businesses leverage this thing called the internet. We'll help him out. Lewis is in the house, Craig. Nice to see the 005 fitting under that cuff. Nice suit. Well, thank you. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. This also came from the Georgetown University shop. Can't really see that label over there, but also came from the Georgetown University shop. And it is a pinstripe. It's a blue, dark blue with a pinstripe. Let's see if we can get a close-up on that fabric. Kind of hard to tell, but yeah, the watch, the 005 does great under this cuff. This cuff isn't terribly tight. It's not a French cuff, so it's easier for a non-French cuff. But the 005 will fit underneath all my French cuffs as well, so it works. It works. Howdy, wearing a Rolex 17,000A today. And somebody's wearing an A. Lang & Son TurboGraf triple, whatever that is. That sounds pretty cool. Send us a photo. I like to put that up, show a photo. My name, CraigShipp@gmail.com. CraigShipp@gmail.com. Send it on over. I know I got a great price on it. Well, great. Okay, there you go. Our WAG says, Chip, just calculated COVID-19 for our city. Population 200,000 and 59 reported cases. That's a 0.0003% infection rate. Obviously, we're going back to work very soon. I hope you are. I hope cooler heads will prevail, and we'll get things going to get this economy going again. It's very, very sad what's happened. Howdy from Texas, wearing a SBGA231. I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit. That's similar to the subject of this show, but it's the previous model. And that's still a fantastic, fantastic dive watch. We're going to talk about these dive watches and why they are so fantastic. Once again, we're going to talk about that. Our WAG says, like the tie, Craig, you can have it. Next time we get together, remind me, I'll bring it. I really don't like this tie. It's a little bit too thick. It's not really long enough. And it makes a really fat knot because it's too thick all the way through. It's too thick. And I don't particularly like the color. It is a Solka and Company tie. It was actually a gift. I rarely wear it, so if you really like it, you can have it, but I don't think you'll like it once you have it. It's not long enough. It's got a lot of issues. So there you go. You got to watch ties, especially when you get a gift. A tie is a gift. Sometimes it's not going to work out the way you would like it to work out. And let's see, somebody's wearing the Citizen Echo Drive BN151 super accurate. And somebody's wearing the older version of the Rolex Black Sub. Well, yeah. You mean with the attractive case as opposed to the quote super case, which I would pass on? That's a good move. I wonder if Lamont is wearing his dad's date 8 today. I think it turned out to be a date chest. Lewis wearing my SBGT241. There we go. Hey, anybody that wants to send a photo that wants me to show a watch, just email it to my name. It's Craig, CraigShipp, @gmail.com, and I will be happy to show it. And I am going to show a watch that is on eBay that they sent a discount offer. So, though I'm going to show you that in a little while if I remember. Eduardo, didn't it turn out to be, yeah, date chest, yeah, just they said that. Tom's in the house. Let's see. You should compare the 002 to Steve's piece Unique Patek. What is that? What is that Unique Patek? What are you talking about? What Patek are you talking about? He never shows it on camera for obvious reasons, but since the 002 is worth pennies on the dollar compared to it, it would be interesting. Yeah, I think Triforce Rich might be a little bit delusional. Maybe he's gotten on some mushrooms here for short term, but he'll be okay. Lamont may be contemplating evil things after he found out that his dad lied to him and told him he had a date 8 when it was just a two-tone date just. Does your GS Diver have a ceramic bezel? No, it does not, and we'll talk about that. This is really a tool watch. These are designed to be a heavy-use tool watch, and the last thing you want on that is a ceramic bezel that is prone to shattering. So this is the real deal. This isn't a piece of jewelry. This isn't a watch that's made up to be a piece of jewelry. This is the real deal for a heavy-use sport watch. We're going to talk about the advantages of those large hands that are titanium with large amounts of lume on them, and all the advantages that this has over a typical dive watch out there, whether it be a Rolex or an Omega or anything typical. This is far from typical. Has a bunch of advantages, and we're going to go into that on this show. Do we ever going to get a 40 millimeter Grand Seiko dive? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about why this particular size of this diver is a huge advantage over a 40 mil. So we're going to talk about the advantages that you have with a watch this size. Of course, the disadvantage is if you have a small wrist, you probably shouldn't go there. But if you have a wrist of 7.25 inches or bigger, I think this is the ideal size. And I will make a case as to why I think that's the case. Durr's in the house, and he says, try First Rich. I heard Lamont is still trying to Google how to spell date. By the way, date has a dash, and it's all uppercase there, just for future reference. Let's see. Touching Evil, no need for a 40 mil GS diver. There you go. Wrist check, GMT2 Black, the Mighty Rat. There you go. That GMT2 is always a good move. Craig, have you seen the video by Watchfinder UK comparing Rolex GMT to a Grand Seiko GMT? Is it a recent one? I don't recall it. If it's recent, I may have seen one a while back. There's been several similar to that, but I'm not sure which one you're talking about. Hey, always, if you see something like that you think I should look at, don't hesitate to email the link to me. I don't mind getting emails like that. Give me a little heads up. Kyle's in the house. He says, hey, everyone. And he did a great job calling in from Venice Beach yesterday. Touching Evil, why not? Cheetown, hey, Craig, here's what I'm wearing today. Check your email. Okay, let's do that. Let's get in the mail. And while we're doing that, let's do a quick time check on that stunner. That absolute stunner. Look how legible that is. See, the fact that it has a relatively flat black dial makes it anti-reflective and makes it really legible. And also, also it, because it has such large hands, I mean, you can't miss the time on that puppy. Okay, so here is a tag. There's a tag, and that is, I'm guessing that is a plated watch, right? That's not going to be solid gold, I don't think. But, and it wouldn't really be my style, but it's an interesting piece. Interesting piece. But yeah, I think, Lance, what you got to do is you got to consolidate at this point. I think you've got to stop buying the, quote, affordable watches. And trust me, I've been there, done that. I had some affordable watches. I tried them out. I gave them a fair shake. I really did. And I just decided that they couldn't meet my needs. Even the 007, the SBDC 007, the Shogun, it was a nice watch, but it ran slow and didn't keep good time. And I can't live with that. I need a certain level of performance out of my timepieces at this point. I'm just at that point where I'm spoiled and I have to have it. So let's see. So all that to say that start saving up, Lance, and let's get you into a Grand Seiko. Let's consolidate. Let's not buy any more affordable watches, quote, affordable watches. Let's save up and get something interesting. Okay, let's see. And Leon says, how's life to Kyle? It seems like, based on yesterday, it seems like he's doing pretty good. I'm a bit preoccupied right now, Craig, so I can't send pictures at this moment of my Lange, but I suppose you could just Google it. Definitely a piece to show on the stream. Well, we can do it another time. Don't worry. We're not pressed. We don't have to do it right now. Lewis in the house. The dog man thinks Rolex will announce new movement for the sub next month. Okay. Well, the dog man doesn't have a clue, so who knows what they're going to do. Let's see. I hope they do, and I hope they fix that super case. Soften that case some. Let's get back to the roots, Rolex. You deviated. You really did. You deviated. And let's get back to the roots. Tom's in the house. For some reason, the Japanese GS execs like to wear 46 millimeter divers with their suits. I would love a 40 to 42 millimeter GS diver personally. Well, Tom, here's the thing. I think with a suit, I don't think you should be wearing a diver anyway. Because, I mean, maybe that was a James Bond thing there, for a while, but whatever. But I think with a suit, you should be wearing something a little more elegant. I think that this 005 would be about as sporty as I would go with a suit, and I think that from there you can even tone it down more and go more towards a dress watch. I think that would be a better solution than trying to, downsize a diver and so that you can wear it with a suit. I just don't think it makes sense to wear a diver with a suit, period. I think just wear something a little more elegant, I think would make a lot of sense there, and wear the diver as a sport watch. And Triforce Rich, don't know about the mushrooms, just heard it through the rumor mill that Steve has one piece unique, means there is only one in the world, and it's the most likely custom made. He just might have something like that. You never know with Steve. And Leon is in the house. Come on, Grand Seiko, offer a 9F quartz diver here in the USA. We've been lobbying for that. That would be nice. Now remember, when you go down to like a 40 mil diver, the dial is pretty small on those. Because if you look at this watch, see the bezel's pretty big on a dive watch. And on a Rolex, I think it's even a little bit bigger than that as far as the width of it. And that takes up a lot of space. And so, and I've said this before, with a Submariner, for example, the dial is about the same size as a 36 mil Datejust. Okay, so think about that. You're getting the same size dial as you would get on a 36 mil Datejust. That's why if a diver is bigger, like this one's 43 mil, then you can still get a decent sized dial on it. Nice big legible dial. And so there's a lot to be said for that size on a dive watch. Just saying. Let's see. Life is great, Leon. Thanks. Nice weather today. Hope you're well. And Thurston Hal III says, chip looking sharp. Well, thank you. Sent you a pic. Okay, let's see. Let's see what we got in here. Let's see what we got. Wow, we got a couple of pictures in here, it looks like. Uh-oh. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. All right, let's bring this. Let's see if we can make this. I guess that's as big as it gets. Okay. So we've got an oyster quartz, a Datejust. Now, the only thing I really don't like about these watches is I really don't like the case design and the integral bracelet. But it's a very interesting watch. I've just never been an integral bracelet guy. And so that's why even back in the day, we never considered these. The Day-Date, there was one that was a, quartz. And they always put the different case and the integral bracelet with those. And I didn't get that whole concept, why they did that. I guess just to differentiate them. But it's still a cool piece, I have to say. A cool piece. Yeah. Okay, and let's see what else we got here. Oh, look at this. We got a super Seawolf. A super Seawolf. There you go. Why did they put those pointy hands on it? It just makes it harder to read the time. You notice I can't even really tell which is the minute hand and which is the hour hand. I guess the one pointing towards the 3 is the hour hand. I can hardly even see the minute hand. So I'm getting a legibility issue on that one. A little bit of a legibility issue on that one. Let's see here, see what else we got. Triforce Rich, Lewis R., forget about the new movement, needs an updated case, no more fat lugs, and it'll be the perfect watch. There you go. And also make it a little thinner. They made them a little bit thicker, the subs. They've gained some weight over the years, right? I wouldn't mind if they went down to like 200 meter, and were able to make it thinner. Remember, they used to be almost as trim as the GMTs. But over the years, they've gained weight, unfortunately. That's my opinion. Maybe somebody can give us some official stats and see if that's actually the case. Let's see. And another vote for a 9F diver. What about the 50 fathoms? Well, 50 fathoms is interesting. Okay, but it's not even in the same league as that stunner right there. Because that spring drive, look at that second hand. I mean, that is just insane. Absolutely insane. And talk about rugged, durable piece. And the bracelet is gorgeous, super comfortable, super flexible. So, yes. And Watchfinder did it 3 weeks ago. Okay. Look at that sexy power reserve on the dial of the 231. There you go. Hi, Kyle. Did Brett win that poker tournament? Yeah, is he like strapped with cash? We need to know. Stu 231 is a little too ornate for me, kind of in your face. If you see, have you seen it in person? Because it really is pretty amazing in person. It does have a little more bling to it than a Rolex sub, for example, just because of the way the bracelet's designed and just a little bit more bling to it, you know, the way the case is designed and so on. But still, pretty amazing. That tag is ugly, sister. Craig, if Marilyn gets back to work by June 1st or earlier, when would you expect Steve to host an event? Any ideas? That's a good question. Maybe we can ask him on tomorrow's show. But I would think he would try to have a party as soon as possible. I would think he would try to do that. He shared an article with me. All these big department stores like Neiman Marcus and Nordstrom's and all these are in serious trouble. If they all fail, then a lot of the malls that are left standing, a bunch of malls have been closed, as you know, over the last 20 years, but this could be it. This could just wipe out all of those malls, and I think vertically integrated retailers like Steve and maybe the contact he knows that sells the Oxford suits, maybe some vertical specialized retailers that leverage the internet heavily are going to be what comes out of those ashes. So this could be a real opportunity for Steve to shine, I think. I think he needs to look at this as an opportunity. And let him know that when you see him. Let him know that. This is an opportunity for him to take advantage. Triforce Rich, hey Craig, if Jeff ever gets around to making the 231 with an updated clasp, 40 to 41 millimeter and thinner, then I may join the club. I've tried it on in person, and these few changes would make it unbelievable. Well, there you go. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. For those of you that want a smaller watch. But in the meantime, there's this Stunner 005. And by the way, unless you have a situation where you have to resize your clasp regularly, this clasp is very nice. Very elegant. See how close to the wrist it is? Very attractive. So, you know, that's food for thought. And of course, I love the functionality of the clasp on that 231. I didn't like the clasp when I first got the watch, and I said as much, but I'm in love with it now because it's all about the function. That watch really is all about the function. It looks good too, but it's mainly designed for function. Let's see. RWAGs, my guess is probably not. I think funds are probably a little tight, most likely from the sounds of it. Okay, talk about accurate. The Apple Watch is never wrong. There you go. Let's see. I wore an Apple Watch for a couple years, on and off, and I still have it. I still have the first series of Apple Watch, and I like that watch, especially with the Link bracelet. It's pretty amazing. I'm with Craig here. Buy one or two affordable watches and no more purchases until you can get a good upgrade. Otherwise, you're making side steps and spinning your wheels. Cheatown, good point. The Dogman doesn't have a clue, says Blue. Quality over quantity for sure. You only wear one at a time. Tom in the house. Craig versus Dogman live. Take no notice. Touching Evil. Trolls everybody's watches whilst wearing a Seiko tuner. Oh, geez. Leon's in the house. You can get a great deal on a slightly used slightly used Grand Seiko models. One does not have to buy a brand new GS to join the club. That's right. There are options out there. Dogman has an inside source at Rolex's information has turned out to be accurate. There you go. Stu in the house says the Dogman's got it down. And nice one mighty rat. Okay. Tom says, I'm a musician. I rarely have to wear a suit. Okay, well, there you go. Let's see. I don't understand GS. Japanese tend to have smaller wrists. Having huge watches doesn't make sense for them, their principal market. Well, they do make a lot of smaller watches, too. Go on eBay and search Grand Seiko. There's a lot of smaller watches. I mean, my gosh, the dress watch I had was small. I mean, it was 35.5 mils, and it was about 10 mils thick. It was not a big watch. And there's a bunch of steel and gold watches on there. They do make a lot of smaller watches. Now, most of them are going to be 9F movement, to get the one that's really trim, really thin. They do make a bunch of smaller watches, believe it or not. So there you go. In my opinion, the most ideal divers to wear with a suit are the Bond, Quartz Seamaster, or Pre-Ceramic Submariner. Okay, let's look at the Bond watch, because that's the one that I got the offer on. Because we showed it on the. Let's look at Lance's photo of the Grand Seiko. Here's another Grand Seiko. Okay, and we've talked about that watch before. That is a stunner, absolute stunner. I do like the 002 better. I like the case design on the 002 better. See how these lugs are kind of like they're stuck on. They don't really curve into the case. So I do like the 002 better, but that is a stunner. Okay, but I want to show you this offer that came through on the, see if I can find it. Here it is. 13% discount. Review offer. Give me a second here to bring this up. Oh, it's sold. Oh, Steve's calling in. You answer this. Steve gets priority on this channel. Let me answer this and see if I can make Steve full screen. There we go. All right, let me get my headset on. And he's got
can you hear me?
But that stunner's not wound.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good.
The stunner, by the way, is stopped. It's not running.
Well, I'm going to let it stay stopped. You mentioned pre-owned.
Okay.
I have this nice pre-owned piece from one of your followers, took in trade, and
Okay.
it is the SBGA231, the pre-2017 setup.
Yep.
The Seiko at the top.
Yep.
Got a great price on it.
That's a nice looking piece. Is that stainless?
It is.
What size is it?
Size is, I think, 41.
So it's about the same as a snowflake.
Yeah.
That's a stunner. And it's got the normal clasp on it?
Yes, it does.
And does it come with a full kit?
Full kit. And very clean.
Well, folks, somebody wants a starter Grand Seiko. There it is, right there, ready to go from a trusted AD. And, focus that a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to move on to something else.
Okay.
But that's okay. We'll give you a last little shot at it.
Yeah, hold that just for a second, because that's a stunner. Whoa, that is a stunner.
Beautiful piece.
Nice dial.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that piece. Yep. Okay, so there you go,
so
folks.
They're out there. And
somebody wants a stunner. He's got it in stock. Time to wheel and deal. Okay, what do you have next for us?
Okay, so we're going to take care of Mr. Leon here, who is our Seiko maven.
Now, somebody, Flabber says, my net worth is $700 million. Just putting that out there.
I'd like to get to know you better.
So you're our new best friend, Flabber 650.
All right.
Let's see. And I read that one. Is that 231 too big? It looks very large. It fits nice on my wrist, and I have a 7.25 inch wrist, between 7.25 and 7.5, depending on the time of the year. So Stu, if you have a 7-inch or bigger wrist, I think you'll be fine. But if you have a small wrist, yeah, you might want to buy one of the smaller models. And there's a Presage automatic.
I want to answer Mighty Rat while we're here.
Mm-hmm.
SBGA 407, obtainable. I'm rich in SBGA 407. Just got 2 shipments in this week.
So you've got a 407 in stock.
More than one.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Available.
So, folks, you got to act while he's got them, because they come in and they go out. That's how this works.
Yep, we waited for 6 weeks to get replenished, and now we're knee-deep in 407s.
And Triforce Rich says, Stu, it works much better than you'd think for that size due to the case lug profile. It fit my 6.5-inch wrist, but yeah, still a big watch. Okay, there you go. There's some input on that. And Flabber 650, buy Bree a couple of Rolexes then. Okay, so the guy that's worth $700 million. Well, I think you should buy her a gold Grand Seiko. I think that's what he should buy her. Yeah, absolutely. And a steel one to go with it. She needs a sport, steel, and a gold. So let's get that $700 million working. Let's put that to work. Cheetown's in the house. 231 is a 44 mil watch, but it wears a couple of millimeters smaller because of the curved case. And nice oyster quartz. Carlos said that was one we showed earlier. I must be behind in the comments.
I jumped ahead on you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we might not be able to catch up on all these. The dog man dresses like a complete slob. He can learn a thing or two from Craig. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Tim's in the house. Craig, I think the dial size on the Rolex sub is less than 36 mil, more like 30 mil. No, what I mean is, what I said was, if you have a 40 mil sub and you have a 36 mil date just, the dial sizes are about the same. So whatever that dial dimension is, it's about the same. And maybe some folks can confirm that, but I believe that to be the case. I don't know what the exact millimeter is on it, but they should be about the same. And that dial color is very unique. So that was the one that you showed first, I guess. I never understood Rolex offering a top-of-the-line quartz and then kneecapping it with an integral bracelet, especially since the Tudor offered to do. Okay, the subs. I'm still behind. I just can't get caught up here. The clasp on the divers aren't great. Yes, it is great. I love it. I got used to it, and I love the clasp. So the Rolex has the best looking integral bracelet I've seen, though. Okay. Rolex, okay, some more oyster quartz comments. Somebody emailed in a picture and I showed it. That's why that brought this up. Like the 231, but it is that part of the Grand Seiko case, that little treasury. I like the 231, but it is in that part of the Grand Seiko case at Little Treasury that is stocked with pieces that I cannot yet afford. Okay. Kyle's in the house. He is still in the tournament. I talked to him this morning. Okay. Brett is trying to hustle some people in the poker tournament so he can buy a real watch and get rid of that Rolex so he can step up to a Grand Seiko. I can't wait for the next Steve event. Leslie and I have to come, says Kyle. They asked about an event when everything reopens in Maryland. Are you going to have an event?
I definitely will, but we may be wearing Tyvek suits. That's the way things are going.
Steve should do wrist shots as well as showing the watches so viewers can see how it wears and looks on the wrist. Well, when he does a broadcast from his place, without Skyping in, then I'm sure he'll be willing to do all that tomorrow, right,
Yep.
Steve?
We will. Yeah, I'm
tomorrow?
Doing a special tomorrow. We'll have it posted tomorrow morning.
Okay. And wait, when are you doing it?
Tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm having a special guest collector.
Okay. Good.
And main topics will be Grand Seiko and Bremont.
Okay.
And some martial arts.
Oh, cool. And Tom says Steve is a really big dude. Everything he would put on wrist probably wouldn't be an accurate representation for most people. And Bree, your wrist is actually about the same size as mine.
It is. I'm between seven and a quarter and 7.5,
Yeah. And
depending on my mood.
Bree is in the house, and she says hi to everyone. Carlos is saying hi to Bree. And Stu DeBaker says, may I ask, did you get a haircut? Looks nice, but if so, what about social distancing? I don't know who he's asking. I haven't gotten a haircut. I've trimmed my hair a little bit around the ears myself, but no, I haven't been able to get a haircut. Everybody's closed around here. Carlos says, nice watch. I don't know which one he's talking about, the Presage or the other Grand Seiko. Please be specific, guys, when you comment on a watch, because I don't always know. Whiskey, hey, Craig, love the show. Bought a 2019 Rolex sub last year, 9,500 USD. If I bought BTC at the exact moment, would have tripled my money. Big mistake. Thoughts on the price post halving? Usually Bitcoin goes up about a year after the halving, but we never know. But the last two halvings, it has gone up about a year later. So later this year or early next year, you might see a big run up if it is true to form. But we never know. I'm a long-term holder. I don't really care what it does in the next year. I care what it's going to do in the next 10 years. Eduardo's in the house. Steve, show us that piece unique. They say that you've got a one-off Patek Philippe hidden somewhere. That's what the rumor is kicking around.
Well, that's what hidden's all about, isn't it, guys?
There you go. Love that GS bracelet. Nice stunner, Steve. Wow. Show us. Stunner, says Brianna. And that GS pre-owned is a beauty, SBGA231, Studi Baker. And Durr says that's actually a really sharp GS. Silver dial GS will good with any outfit. Absolutely, that would be an all-arounder. Great starter watch for somebody. Somebody's got to step up. That thing's going to sell fast, I guarantee it. Lewis says, I really like the no-date sub. I just can't deal with a Cyclops. Okay. Well, good. Buy GS. You're not going to have a Cyclops. Steve is the SBGA407 obtainable. That's the one you said you've got in stock. We're getting closer to the end here. Craig, check mail, GS231 on wrist, on a 7-inch wrist. Joey sent that in. All right, we'll check that in a minute. Studebaker, I like it when Steve jumps on. Always good stuff. I don't think I can catch up on these comments, Steve. Did you glance through them? Is there anything that stands out that we have to deal with? Because I'm never going to catch up at this point.
Let me show a couple of watches here, and then we'll try to catch up. Well.
And Tom says, should you buy a hardware wallet before purchasing any Bitcoin? You can just leave your coin on Coinbase or something. I mean, once you get to where you've got like $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, then worry about a hardware wallet. But it's safe on Coinbase. Everybody says don't leave it on an exchange, but it depends on how much you're leaving there. If you're leaving $10,000 worth, it's insured. You don't have to worry about it. It's when you get up over $100,000 worth of Bitcoin or something, then think about a hardware wallet. That'd be my advice on that. And you could use a service like BlockFi too. You could let them custody, and then you'll earn interest on your Bitcoin. So not financial advice on this channel, though, folks. Just what I do. That's what I would say you might be able to do. There's a gorgeous watch.
So these are new, just in. SBB 129, the prior one, SBB 131. I'm sure Leon knows what these are all about. And beautiful pieces, and limited to 1,964 pieces each, just in.
And David Williams says hi to all. He was on a conference call.
Hey, Dave. And I think someone asked about the movement of this watch. Is that correct? And
Leon asked, is Stephen Berwick the guest on your program tomorrow?
Leon, we can't keep a secret from you. I don't know.
How did he find that out? Did your producer?
I don't know.
Did your producer let that leak?
Yeah, Leon, I think you have us bugged over here. Do you?
Tom says, I would prefer not using an exchange, but you can use a software wallet in your computer, says Carlos. Yeah, but, I mean, Coinbase is pretty stable. I mean, they got some heavy-duty people behind them. It's not the old days of these fly-by-night exchanges that run off into the sunset with your Bitcoin. I mean, that's not what Coinbase is, and that's not what BlockFi they are. I mean, they're good folks. So yeah, I heard the next big thing is actually Craig Coin, not Bitcoin. They're in the house. Craig sent you a picture of. Okay, we're going to look at the pictures after we wrap up with Steve. And David gives a thumbs up to something. Seiko is stepping up the game with the Presage, says Leon. I heard the guest tomorrow is actually Chuck Norris. Oh, okay, there you go. I wouldn't want to spend a considerable amount of money to then get hacked somehow, though. Well, it depends on what you say considerable amount of money. Like I said, if you got more than $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, definitely consider a hardware wallet. And we can talk offline. I can give you some pointers on what hardware wallet to get and how to use it. I've been using hardware wallets for a couple of years now, several years actually. So, yeah, I would go with a Trezor. And, yeah, if you're looking at a big amount of Bitcoin, yes, use a hardware wallet. And then there's some other things you should do as well along with that. Okay, what else do you have to show?
Okay, this is it. I'm just going to quickie. Today has been insane. I put out more watches personally than any day I can remember.
Well, that's good. You shipped them? You shipped them already?
Huh?
Are they already shipped?
The wife's shipping them, but they're going out the door tomorrow morning.
Okay.
And so looks like people at home are still active, which we appreciate greatly.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And so on the right is SPB123, and that was held back for a while. That's a new Alpinist with a more of a cream dial and gold accents.
Yes.
And,
that's stunning. That
yeah,
looks
next
nice.
to the prior version, which we did have, the SPB119.
And it came with that strap, huh?
It did. Very sporty.
Yeah.
Let me give that prime.
Yeah, I like that gold. That's
Yeah.
cool. Now, what size is that? Is that like a 38 mil, or what roughly is the size of that?
Well, we always get in trouble with size here.
Well, if you're not sure, don't tell me, because I'd rather not say if we're not sure.
Well, I'm going to say it anyway.
They can check
So
the stats.
Being the rebel that I am,
Okay.
I'm measuring it at 38.8. It's probably 39 nominally.
Okay, so that's a great all-arounder size.
Oh yeah, these are fabulous. They're Alpinists, and so it comes with a black dial as well, green dial, which I've shown before, and now this one has just come out. We thought we weren't going to get these; that they were going to be sort of boutique only or Japan only, but just got it, and really sweet little piece.
Yeah, that's stunning. Yeah, I think if somebody wants just an all-arounder, now is that waterproof to like 50 meters, or what's the water rating on that?
I think it may be better. Let me just see. 20 bar, 200 meters.
Okay, wow. Okay.
So it's meant to be an out and about watch. And,
Leon says, I love my SBGV239 that I got from Little Treasury last week.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have another one of those in stock so somebody can pick one up?
I might have it in waiting replacement.
Incoming?
Yeah, a lot has been
folks,
flying out.
You need to get on the list, folks. You hear what he's saying? You got to get on the list for the model that you want.
And good news, I think I have one winter from the Seasons collection and maybe one spring. We've waited a couple of months for these.
Okay.
Just got the shipment in the last 2 days.
So you might have one that's not spoken for.
Yeah, I definitely think I have a winter.
Folks, you gotta, if you want one of those season watches, I've been telling you, you gotta get on the list and grab it when you can, because they come and they go. Let's see, Steve, have you ever encountered a watch come in that was so stunning you took it home right there and then for yourself?
Well, I have a waiting period requirement, and usually I can, if I wait a week or 2 weeks, I can cool off. So
that's what people should do with investments too, by the way.
Yeah.
That's always a good idea, not to act hastily. So that you've
Yeah.
got willpower is what you're saying.
But try not to smoke my own dope, as
Yeah,
we say.
there you
Yeah.
go. You've got willpower.
Yeah.
And Carlos says, I love the look of the Alpinist, but it would be more useful if it would had minutes in the rotating bezel instead of degrees. Okay.
Well, that would be true.
Okay. And then Tom says 200 meters. Alpinist is one of the best all-arounders from Seiko, says David. The new 2020 Alpinist without the compass bezel looks very nice in my opinion. And Durr says, I have 2 blue dial Hodinkee Special Blue Limited Edition Alpinists. Well, what are you doing with 2? Why do you need
Yeah,
2,
and
Durr?
and you went off campus too, didn't you?
Uh-oh, uh-oh,
That
uh-oh.
may
He probably bought
that may
He probably bought
may
those
not qualify
before.
for a steak dinner
He
next time.
probably bought those before he knew you.
It's going to be hamburgers there, Steeple.
I'm
Hamburgers.
gonna give him the benefit of the doubt that he bought those before you met.
Okay.
Lance is in the house. Are all of the Alpinists branded as prospects now?
Uh, I think so. Yeah.
I have one of the older green Alpinists back when they were $300. Lewis in the house. Carlos, Durr, you can give those as a gift to Rachel's kids. Okay. Steve, in other words, Linda does not let you go home with the product.
That's pretty astute.
That's
That's
a
pretty
good.
astute.
That's a good observation.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Anything else interesting to show before we go to
No,
the
I want
email?
to get off. I got
Okay.
to ship a couple of watches still. Sorry to barge in, but I thought somebody might want to see these little beauties that just came in, and see you tomorrow.
And know that you've got some other Seikos, Grand Seikos coming in that if they want to grab one of those hard to get models, they should grab while the grabbing is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Had one vendor tried to order, I mean, a big vendor, I won't name, couldn't ship. Everybody's home. Had a special order.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, they were asking earlier in the chat, do you have any word at all as to whether or not the factory is producing watches, the GS factory? Are they still
Well,
producing, or do you know?
I don't have any direct word, but given the number of pieces we just got in, yeah, they are.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we just got 2 big batches of Grand Seiko. So, but definitely, I think the demand is up, and there are wait periods for the desirable pieces, and we just waited. Now we've got. So that's what's going on.
Okay. So 2 big shipments.
Yeah, yeah, but
Okay.
we had a lot to ship out, a lot of orders.
Okay.
So someone asked about the price of the Alpinist on a bracelet, $725.
Okay.
Or on a strap, excuse
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Okay.
And have they upped the quality of those? Is that what they've done? I mean, if they take them to a higher level?
I think so.
Because somebody mentioned in the chat they were $300 a while back.
Yeah, well, that's probably before my time. So
Okay.
I never had about $300. They've
Okay.
always been in this ballpark. So,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
they are pretty. I think they're one of the best buys in watchdom, and have a nice clasp on them, nice deployant.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah,
Now,
very nice.
now, that last question here. Tom says, "Can Steve show the Super Marine range tomorrow?"
I'll bring some out, sure. I definitely have a bunch, so
Okay.
we will.
Okay.
And our guest is into that as well, so that will be copacetic. We will do that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All
All right.
So I'm
Okay.
going. Goodbye.
All right. Carry on. Thanks for calling in.
Okay.
That's Steve, the Stevester. And we're going to try to pull up the, I was going to show you this James Bond watch, but it's sold. It's sold. They offered a 15% discount, and I got an email about it, and somebody jumped on it. So let's go back and see if I can catch up on the emails here. Okay. Give me a moment here to catch up. And here is another quartz. There we go. Steel and gold this time. There you go. And I've heard that is a good movement that they had in those. I heard it's no joke, the quartz movement that Rolex used. Don't know if it's quite at the level of a 9F, but I heard it's pretty amazing. Okay, so here's another watch. This is another email from Lance. There you go. Okay, and again, Lance, I think you should start saving up, and I think you should head towards Grand Seiko at this point. You're an enthusiast. You need an enthusiast's watch. And here's that picture of the 231 on a 7-inch wrist, I think he said. So there's that. It looks fine to me. Looks pretty cool. That's just an amazing watch. I mean, if I do say so myself, that's just an amazing, one-of-a-kind sport watch. One of a kind. Just that titanium makes a big difference, folks. Makes a big difference. And here's the previous model, before 2017, before they changed and put Grand Seiko at the top. I do like Grand Seiko at the top because it makes the dial less cluttered, but I mean, it's still a fantastic piece. Still a fantastic, super fantastic, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. What was that word that she did in the song? Anyway, I don't know. Don't know what that's all about. Oh. No picture. Okay, here's another one. How come it's not loading in? Somebody sent me a 1630. Oh, 1630 is an automatic. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That they had that strange watch that they made. Clivester's talked about that before. That one that was automatic, that was in the same case as the strange bird. Okay, let's see here. No. David Williams potentially, but trades at a dealer are always less than selling outright, like trading a car at a dealer. Let's see. Yeah, but I'll tell you, it's a lot safer to trade the watch with Steve and just do a deal and not worry about the potential issues. But yeah, obviously he's going to give you wholesale. Triforce Rich, Craig has sold more GS than GS head of marketing, but can't get a $20,000 watch is willing to pay money for. Unbelievable, Triforce Rich. Just tells you how hard those watches are to get. Hopefully he's going to get it in soon. He said he thinks it's been shipped. I did talk to him earlier today. I didn't want to put him on the spot on the call, but I did talk to him earlier today, and he says he thinks it's been shipped. So that's kind of how this happens. All of a sudden, watches just come in, right? And he never really knows what he's going to get. But my fingers are crossed. My fingers are crossed. Let's see. Are you still in the honeymoon phase with your 231? I love it. It's on my wrist most of the time. I mean, it is an amazing piece. I mean, it's just so comfortable and so legible. I was wearing it last night, and I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I looked at the watch, and it's just glowing so nicely, and I can easily read it even without reading glasses on or anything, at night, It's just amazing. It's just so functional for me. And it's just gorgeous. Every time I look at it, I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. So yes, it's really fun to have that watch on wrist. But I was the same way with my GMT Master 2s, and of course with the Date 8 that I had. When I get a high quality piece, I'm pretty much okay with that. So yes, but if new might be better, selling private party better, get more money than visit Steve. There you go. Joey, Stu, I have my 231 since June last year and still loving it like day one. Joey in the house. Carlos, shipped to ship. Craig, if you get the 002, can we expect 10 live streams discussing how much better it is than any other watch to ever exist? Any other dress watch, maybe. I'll put it this way. I'm not going to buy it if I'm not super impressed with it. I mean, I've got to be super, I mean, this is a lot of money we're talking about. I've got to be super impressed with the watch to lock and load. So yeah, obviously if I lock and load, I'm going to do some produced videos. I'm going to do live streams. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the 231. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the 005, but probably on steroids. Yeah. What'll really be sad is if I go and look at it and I'm disappointed and I don't get it. That'll be depressing. Well, the most depressing will be that he doesn't even get it ever, and I never even see it. That just doesn't come in, right? That'll be the most depressing. Second most depressing would be he gets it and I go look at it and I just don't like it. Just doesn't feel good on wrist or whatever. Those two, either of those possibilities would be a little bit depressing. So, hopefully that won't happen. Durs in the house says, not sure Steve has anything at this point I'm interested in at the moment. I'm still eyeing day dates right now, just waiting for prices to drop and saving cash. I don't blame you. Go for a deal. Stu says, are you not sleeping well? I wake up sometimes. I usually sleep pretty good, but I wake up sometimes. That happens. Joey's in the house. Me too. I'm eyeing price on 18238s. Joey in the house. My gosh, he'd have a hell of a rotation if he had an 18238 with the 231. That would be a heck of a rotation. David's in the house. Logical move at Dur. Just looked up the 002 and it's 38.5 mil, perfect size. Looks way bigger on Tim's wrist though. Thought it was a larger dress watch. Yeah, well his wrist is small. His wrist is small. It's about the same size as this. See, this looks pretty good on my wrist size-wise, don't you guys think? What do you guys think size-wise, if this looks okay? And by the way, the 002 would be thinner than this. This is 12 mils thick and the 002 is 10 mils thick. So what do you guys think? What do you think about that? Craig, when you do go see the 002, please record it in 4K. Oh my gosh, yes. I'll do some 4K videos. I will absolutely do some 4K produced videos. The live streams won't be 4K, but the produced videos will absolutely be 4K. Here's an Echo drive. Let's take a look at this. There you go. That's pretty cool. Talk about legible. My gosh, look at the size of those hands on that puppy. That puppy would be legible. But that does look a little big on that wrist, I have to tell you. It looks a little bit big on that wrist, but it's a stunner. I like it. I like it. I like that Jubilee bracelet on it too. It's not integral to it. Doesn't fit to the case the way I would like, but it's still very, very nice. Let's go to this. Oh, look at this. Look at this one. That's a cutie. That's kind of neat. I'll tell you, Grand Seiko has made some cool pieces over the years. I like the case design. Lance sent that picture in, and he's got some good taste, this guy. He's got some good taste. Let's see. Looks like Alex Jones got a new watch, but I can't identify it. He usually wears a Hulk, but today he was wearing a black watch on a leather strap. Okay. There, that's like a 10K difference. Okay, I don't know what we're talking about here. Let's see. Oh, he's wanting you to get the 6-digit date. If you get an 18238 in really good shape, I know Durr's all over wanting to have the center links solid and all that, but if you get a 238 in really good shape, it's going to last decades for you. I don't think you're going to have a problem with that. Let's see here. Carlos, she has a Brady Bunch House of Kids. I still got leverage. Okay. I don't know what that was all about, but I wonder if he was talking about Rachel. Let's see. I don't understand the 25K price tag for the 002 though. It doesn't seem even have a gold bracelet. Just case. We'll need a report on why it costs so much. Seems like the price is random. Well, no, it's a limited production, and anytime you don't make as many pieces of something, it's the cost per unit is always higher. That's called economy of scale. I mean, Rolex makes a lot more date 8s, right? So they can do it at a more affordable price. And so, you know, I mean, look how much a Calatrava cost. I mean, they're not cheap, right? And they have a strap. So it's a little more than a Calatrava, but it's got a deployant clasp. If you get a Calatrava with a deployant clasp, maybe Carlos can chime in what the price would be, what the retail price is on a Calatrava with a deployant clasp. I bet it's not far off. And I can make some legitimate arguments that the 002 is a step up from the Calatrava. The movement definitely is superior. I like the case. I like everything about it so far. Again, I got to see it in person to really know, but I think you could make a legitimate argument that it might be superior, but we will see. Stu's in the house. I'm anxious to see the 002. It looks squatty in the pictures. The lugs are odd. Did you see the video that Tim did? I think it looks pretty good in the video. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Let's play a little bit of this video again.
Against the spinning tin plate and create a mirrored finish that is optically smooth, distortion-free, and very much like what the Swiss would call poly noir or black polish.
And the
a
side of the
push-down crown,
KC,
30 meters
I think it looks
water-resistant,
pretty
and a
elegant.
simple conical
So
bezel,
a lot of people are
giving way to what would conventionally be dubbed the snowflake dial. This is the dial that you know from the SBGA 11 and 211, or the snowflake. Half a dozen steps to create a lovely snowdrift undulation pattern that has a wonderful light and lively randomness to it. It's designed to evoke the snowdrifts outside the northern Japan Shinshu watch studio of Grand Seiko, where the timepiece is assembled and regulated. And Snowflake is the company's nickname, not a collector appellation, which I found remarkable. All of the features of the dial, from the fired blue counterweighted Lancet seconds hand to the individually diamond polished Dauphine hands and which is a scale alligator leather, 15 centimeter circumference wrist, and it's thin, 10.5 millimeters thick with a nicely sloped case flank. It will easily slide underneath a tight dress sleeve or cuff. From lug to lug, wonderfully traditional, 43.4 millimeters with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs.
I agree that the pictures don't do it justice, but I suspect that in person that thing will be pretty stunning. So, let's see here. Joey Ben, more like a 3K to 5K difference if you buy right. Having a stretched out 18238 bracelet isn't cheap to tighten when you run into that problem either. Over time, the 118238 is the better buy. Well, I wouldn't buy one that's stretched out, I'd buy one that's in really good shape, and then you're going to get decades out of it. Mine, I wore mine for 20 years, and it was still fine. So, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, but a Patek is a Patek. Unfortunately for GS, their name is nothing compared to Patek, even though it's actually might be a better watch. Patek are overpriced. Yeah, but I don't buy for name. I buy for quality. I always have. I mean, that's what I do. I buy quality stuff. So the name is immaterial to me. Nobody's going to be like looking at the dial on my watch to see what name's on it, right? I mean, that doesn't happen in real life. They might look and see how elegant the watch is and how gorgeous it is on wrist, but I seriously doubt they're going to grab my arm and look at the dial and see what name's on it. And even if they did do that, I would be proud of wearing a Grand Seiko. I'd have no problem that I'm wearing a Grand Seiko. I think they're cool. Let's see. No, I'm from Spain, but I'm getting a Panamanian Citizenship 2. Good move. Do you like the Grand Seikos that have the GS logos in the dial? SBGA231. I don't know. I don't. Let me see if I can pull that up. SBGH267. Give me a moment. Oh, that's a yeah. I mean, it's a typical dial. I don't see anything. I don't understand what you're asking. I mean, yeah, I like the 2017. That's what mine is. That's a 2017 or newer dial. Has the GS at the top, Grand Seiko like that. Most of them. Yeah, I do like that. Absolutely. Let's see. Carlos, why no U.S. citizen, greatest country there is in the world? Do you not qualify for citizen yet? Well, he's not here in the U.S. About the same price, the 002 and the 5196 plus the point clasp. So see, they're similarly priced. I think you need to close some of those tabs, Craig. That elderly computer of yours is going to have a stroke. I'll tell you, I try to close them when I can, but you guys keep asking me to look at new stuff, and I don't want to close it right away because then we might have to go back to it, and you know how that is. So, but I do go through from time to time and close some. I absolutely do. I'm surprised that this thing will support that many tabs as old as this computer is. It's only got 4 gigs of RAM. So I like the 002. I like that the 002 has a deployment class, says David Williams. Joey Ben, if you try on both side by side, I can almost guarantee you'll have a hard time spending the cash on the 18238. They feel like 2 completely different watches. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I love the 18238 on wrist. I don't really want a watch that's heavier on my wrist. To me, that would be a negative, not a positive. But yeah, not that I would not buy it because of that, but it certainly wouldn't be a positive that it's got extra weight to it. Craig, I sent you an email with a Citizen Pilot's watch. Okay, did I already look at that yet or not? I'm behind on the comments again. Let me see here. Okay. Yeah, that would be yeah, that for me that would be too too busy. Yeah, I would not go there personally. But yeah, people like that sort of thing. I mean, if you like all that sort of thing, then absolutely. But it just wouldn't be for me. A little bit busy for me. Let's see. Let's see. I love the U.S. and I might be spending more time there, but I hate U.S. taxes for non-residents. I don't blame you. The problem with buying for name is companies take advantage of you. They raise their prices and lower the quality. Cheatown. I assume I would not qualify anyway. I was close to move to Miami instead than Panama. Okay. GS really have to be seen in person. Sound like marketing, but it's true. The way the light plays on the dials and the cases has to be seen. Louis R. I agree. No question about it, says Triforce Rich. Finishing punches 3 times the cost of their pieces. GS finishing is top notch, but my issue with them is that they fall a bit short in other areas. Yeah, but I don't think the 002 does. I think it checks most of the boxes. We'll see. We'll see. Again, he may not even get it in. I don't know. Hopefully it's on the way. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Craig, what brands you rocking, fella? Well, right now, both my watches are GS. That one, the 231 Diver Stunner, and the 005. And I've got a link to my GS page on my website in the description. So click on that, and it goes over these watches and the other ones that I had. Oh, clothing. Okay, clothing. Right now I'm wearing, this is from the Georgetown University shop. I believe this one was made by Corbin. And then this tie is a Solka company tie. And this shirt is just a Pinpoint Oxford from Nordstrom. Pinpoint Oxford cotton shirt from Nordstrom. Just something simple today. Yeah. And then I've got, if you go to my website, click on photos and click through to my Flickr photo stream and search USA made clothing or anything like that, I've got a whole photo set of clothing and different things, high quality clothing, including some things from England and other things. But take a look. I've got a whole bunch of photos of all that kind of stuff for people that want to know about that kind of stuff. I've got to wrap this thing up here pretty soon, guys. I've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. Craig, if you wore an 18238 for 20 years, the same watch model now would be roughly 25 to 30 plus years old, and finding a model without stretch would be almost impossible, not worth the premium either. I don't know. I don't know how much you have to pay for a Safe Queen that doesn't have any stretch. That's the question. I mean, if you can get a buy on one, I don't think they sell for that much. I think they're still a bargain if you find one that's really mint condition. Let's say you could get one for 12 grand in mint condition, right? I think you'd have to pay a lot more for that, for a 6-digit watch. I think you'd have to pay, 15, 17 grand at least. And again, I mean, it's all in what you want and how much you want to spend, right? I mean, but yeah, I think you could get one in really nice shape with a super tight bracelet for around 12, don't you think? What do you guys think? Yeah, the 002 might not be an issue at all since it is just a case and leather strap. May be a pure stunner. We'll just have to wait and see. I've never seen it in person, so I can't comment. I hear you. I'm not a fake watch guru who pretends to know everything. I have to see and handle something. I agree with you 100%. My gosh, you have to see what it's like and see what it feels like on wrist. And if a seller won't let me try it on wrist and really see what I like about it, I'm not even going to consider it. I've got to really check it out. Craig sent you a picture of the Heuer Skipper reissue. Your thoughts on it? All right, we're going to Lance is going for a lot of these marginal watches. Lance, I think you've got to rein it in a little bit. I think you've got to rein it in. Yeah, I think I would just don't buy any more of these watches. Rein it in a little bit, guy. Yeah, I would wait and save up and get yourself a real watch. You got plenty of watches right now that are affordable, entry-level watches. You don't need any more of those. Just stop buying those and save your money, and let's save up for something real. That's what I would suggest. Let's see here. I've handled both a Snowflake and a Datejust 41 in person, and while the Datejust didn't feel as much of a jewelry item as the Snowflake did, it had a better bracelet and better case proportions. Well, there you go. If that's what you like, absolutely. And it is thinner, and it is more of an all-arounder because it's, I think, about 11.7 mils thick. So the Datejust, you could probably, but it's 41. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to wear a 41 mil watch as a dress watch. I was going to say it could be like a good all-arounder, but I think that's a little bit big for dress purposes. I'm not a fan of the Datejust 41, to tell you the truth. I'd probably just get a Datejust 36 and call it a day. Probably what I would do. Durs in the house, 18238s are selling around $13K, showing stretch. Well, yeah, then that's not good. That's not good. You'd have to get it for less than that, I think. I think that's too much for one, especially one with stretch. I wouldn't even buy one with stretch. I nominate Lance for wrench. We have seen his face and seems like a nice guy. Does Lance want a wrench? Do you want a wrench, Lance? Put in the comment if you want a wrench. We'll give you a wrench. What the heck? David Williams in the house, 1803s are interesting. Yeah, if you could get an 1803 that was a Safe Queen, that might be a move too. I love the 231, Craig. I love it so much. It almost trumps the GS Gold Stunner. Whoa, that's saying a lot. It's a different piece. It's a sport watch, right? I nominate Lance, and Lance says thanks, Chi-Town. All right, let's go ahead and give him one. Let's give him a wrench. Add moderator. We can always remove it if he decides he doesn't want it. Kyle's in the house. Lance should consider a GS. Yes, that's right. Just save up for a GS, Lance. That's where I would go with all that. Lance, Craig is trying to be polite. Archie would say something else about those watches. I second Lance for a wrench. There you go, Kyle in the house. Lance, hears this. Lance, hear this from me. No more of those cheap watches. Save your money and be patient. It'll be totally worth it. I agree with that. Save your money, Lance. You have time, and it will be less waste if you get a good one. Yes. Seifel, I want a day date eventually as well. I might go with a 118238. I can't get a new one because I love the railroad Roman numeral outer track that is missing on the newer models. Triforce Rich, good move. I lost my wrench on Archie Luxury channel. I think it was because I was putting him on blast for buying 5 identical girl-sized, paper-thin Patek dress watches. Oh, no. And white gold, too. He bought a lot of white gold ones, too, right? I think he bought one yellow gold or a whole bunch of white gold ones. That was a mistake. Eduardo, I saved my money and bought a vintage Datejust for $3,500. And you can even get them for less than that. I've seen decent Datejusts for like $2,500. You know, you can get a deal on them. Lance is in the house. I would love a wrench. He's got it now. You have to think of a Datejust 41 as a model for someone who likes sport watches. Otherwise, it will be oversized when compared to a Datejust 36. Yeah, and I think if you're going to wear it for dress purposes, I think you might be pushing it. I think it might be a little bit big. This is about the biggest I would want for a dress watch. This is 38.5 mils. I don't think I want to go any bigger than that, personally. Let's see here. I bought a 64 Datejust on a factory Jubilee with a 1-year warranty for $2,600 3 years ago. Sold it a year later for a profit. During the house. There you go. And see, that's what I did back in the day, Lance, is I bought some Rolexes and resold them, and I made a profit on each one, and I worked my way up in a watch that way. Now, back in the day, we didn't have the internet and all that. I was buying them off of Craigslist. And actually before Craigslist even, Craigslist, you know, the early internet, it was one of the first things where you could buy and sell things. But even before that, we were buying them out of the Washington Post. You know, people would advertise them in the Washington Post newspaper, and we would call him, and the guy'd be in Bethesda or something, and we'd go to his house and look at the watch, and we'd buy it from him. So, you know, that's how we would do it, and we'd make a cash offer and get a decent buy on the watch, and then I would wear it, and when somebody would comment on it, or a friend like Paul Faupel, he bought a couple of watches from me, they'd like the watch or whatever, I'd say, well, you know, if you'd like it, you know, I'll sell it, and I'd give them a price, and I wouldn't try to make a ton on it, right? Just make a halfway decent profit, and I'd sell it, and then I'd rinse and repeat, and that's how I worked my way up and got my first date. And I sold that and stepped up to a little bit better one and sold that one, and, you know, rinse and repeat. Okay, remember that nothing is more expensive than buying a bunch of cheap watches. They eat into your budget for a stunner, and they are a pain to sell. Chi-Town. I agree. 38, 39 millimeters, perfect size for a dress watch, says Durr. Let's see. Brett's two-tone Datejust is amazing condition. It's 1981, never polished. Not sure what they go for used. Okay, there you go. Should we recommend a Tudor for that? No. The next watch I'm going to buy is a Grand Seiko. You have convinced me that they are the best watches in the world. There you go. I think especially for the money, you know, if you get something like the one Kyle got, I mean, that's a bargain. For the quality you get, are you kidding me? I wrote her papers are next to impossible to get for watches that old. $3,500 is more than I would pay for that watch, but it's probably not terrible considering you have papers with it. Okay. Blue wants to lose the wrench. Theo and Harris valued my watch at $5,500. Is that accurate or absolutely crazy. Okay, I can't comment on that. I'm not sure about that. Okay, we're going to wrap this puppy up because I got a client that's going to be calling me, and I got to try to eat something between now and then, so I'm up against it. So thank you all for tuning in, and Steve is live on this channel tomorrow. That's how that's going to work. Hey, click subscribe and click the bell.